Hello, everybody, and welcome to another stream. I haven't streamed in so long because of the holidays, so I was able to do one tonight. So this is Virtual Pizza Parlor number 7, and we're just going to relax and chill today. I'd like to just talk about a few things, and one of the topics we're going to talk about is All Flesh Must Be Eaten, game by Eden Studios. I'll see if I can get a picture for you. I'm pretty sure I can just pull up one of my books, actually. I'll pull up the main guide here. Give me 1 second. Yeah, this looks to be perfect. So we're just going to do a small screen share here real quick. Nothing too major. We're not going to go through anything because I am going to do a review on this book. So for just right now, I just want to do a share. Just trying to find my screen share stuff. There we go. Oh, and it's all the way blown in. So let's see here. See if I can blow it out just a little bit. There we go. All right. So this is it. It's not quite right. Let me see if I can bring the sides in a little bit. There we go. Alright, so this is All Flesh Must Be Eaten, a zombie survival role-playing game. This is the revised edition with the modern 20 conversion, and uses the Unisystem game system rules. And there's a lot going into it. Like I said, I'm not going to show off anything else more than this right now. I am going to talk about a little something that just happened. So today I got to actually play it. I used to play this back in, I think it was 2014. Witch King of Samra actually got me into it back in that time. So I actually kind of went with it. I do like All Flesh Must Be Eaten. It's a really good zombie game. Like I said, I'm not going to try and spend too much time. So today I actually did play a little bit of it with some family of mine. And it was kind of crazy. So we had someone named Catherine Spencer. She was a thief that wanted to rob big time banks. We had I actually named one of the players. I helped him with the name, called him Damian Wayne. He was a soldier, and yes, I have a big thing for Batman. Damian Wayne, I think, was the far more superior Robin, but that's just my opinion. Dick Grayson was my absolute favorite because he was the first. And then we had Officer Steve Rogers, we're just going to call him. So, Officer Steve Rogers. That was actually played by another player of mine. He just didn't come up with the last name. But, yeah, so Officer Steve Rogers. So each one got to actually play a little bit of a part. We did kind of poke fun out of a few things. Like, we weren't trying to be, like, too serious. So, like, the soldier was doing his his exercises for the day. Oh yeah, Steve Rogers. Yeah, that was actually Captain America's name. Anyway, we're not gonna go. Chris, if you're on, you can come in here. Like, seriously. So anyway, so we'll just call him Officer Steve for short. He had a thing with, last names are pointless because the zombie apocalypse was going to happen. That was the player, but they tried to add some comedy to it. So, okay. So Damian Wayne went right through his normal exercises as a first-time private in the military, and he did fail on the final roll. He did jumping jacks. He did push-ups, but the last roll he totally failed at. So they ended up, because he fell lastly and did fail 2 out of the 3, he had to be put on cleaning duty. So he was cleaning up after his, he's like the rookie, so he was cleaning up after his platoon mates. Meanwhile, while this is going on, Officer Steve was actually roaming around town and saw a drug bust go down. He pulled over, called for backup, and immediately chased the 2 guards into a back alley, of which one pulled a gun. He as soon as he aimed, he actually fired and actually ended up killing one of the guys, while the other guy actually got on the ground and did everything he was supposed to. He might have actually... The other guy did fail the fear test, so he kind of crapped himself. Meanwhile, Catherine decided to climb up, went into the alley of a bank, climb up the ladder, service ladder, to access the surveillance cameras. However, was caught doing so because she was not stealthing, and she failed the electronics roll to turning off the service cameras, or at least making it look like they were on when they were really off. She got caught immediately. However, she was already prepared. She managed to successfully rappel down off the building of the bank and make a run for it. However, one of the officers, one was stuck up there. The other one did make it down and managed to squeeze off a few shots and shot her right in the back, of which she lost a lot of serious health, and so they caught her, cuffed her, and took her to the hospital. So once all that was done, it was about nighttime. So Steve Rogers actually got a assignment from his captain, and asked if he wanted to do some overtime to earn some additional money, and figured that this would be a good time to do it, as the funding from the city's mayor actually already has been cut on the police force, so they weren't able to offer him much more money, but at least figured, offer him something for doing this job. He went to the hospital, which he's seen people just fall apart. People were running fevers. He was sent there just to guard and just watch after everyone, because it was like kind of chaos there. There was various doctors and nurses, and that were healthy. There was various doctors and nurses that weren't healthy, and there was various patients and civilians there that was actually not healthy at all. People were vomiting and spilling their guts all over the lobby. Even played some sound effects for this, which actually made my player kind of a little grossed out, but he did like the fact that the mood was definitely there. He did say the mood was definitely there, and I did paint an awesome picture. So he actually felt like he was there, but he told me he couldn't go through with it because he did feel like he was actually there. So I did a good job as a GM to explaining the situation. It was bad and nasty. However, while he was there was no one there that was actually dead or dying. Well, they were dying, but they weren't dead. No one at this time has officially turned. However, there was one person that turned, which was Patient Zero, who did go missing in the midst. This is actually in Chicago, Illinois, is where I placed the event. But they felt like they would kept him out. He stayed up all night. They didn't really a whole lot happen. He did actually guard the thief, because the thief that was there, Catherine Spencer, who was the thief, ended up being there after she tried breaking in the bank. He did end up guarding her and caught her trying to escape, and so he made sure that she was sedated so he didn't have to sit there. While Steve Rogers was actually at the hospital, he heard many rumors going on about people being scratched and bitten, coming down with fevers, so they figured it was passed on human contact. Little they didn't know it was human contact, yes, and not airborne, but they still didn't know how it was transmitted through saliva. The CDC was currently working on it, on the figuring out what this virus was. Well, Steve Rogers went home early in the morning around sunrise, and he passed out. Upon passing out, a bolo went out regarding certain patients escaping from the hospital along with Patient Zero. And that these patients that ran from the hospital seemed to have had a small seizing episode, but then got up and run away. However, multiple versions of this kept happening, and therefore staff was overwhelmed. The CDC and local law enforcement did dispatch extra hands as well as SWAT team to be able to contain the situation inside the General Hospital of Chicago. Steve Rogers passed out, and within the midst of him sleeping, he did wake up to his phone constantly going off. Bolos were going out saying that everything is terrible. Little did he know, once he got back out, he went to the hospital where everything was starting. Meanwhile, before that actually ended up happening, Private Private Damian Wayne and his platoon was already dispatched to contain the situation. Various personnel was actually already dispatched. Meanwhile, Damian went in and he immediately saw people eating each other, cannibalizing each other. Blood was dripping from things. So he began opening fire. Him and his platoon began opening fire on those that were highly aggressive and destructive. Damian managed to put a few down, but he did end up getting bit right in his torso. However, his torso was where all his armor was sitting. So that was good because once he ran out of clips, he put down his rifle. He got bit. He pulled out his quick 9mm Beretta and actually did a headshot. Now, these zombies they were taking on was actually considered walkers. They were slow and steady, but they were actually still highly effective. One bite and that's it. However, Damian Wayne took no damage whatsoever. Catherine Spencer, who was restrained to a bed, eventually came to and realized that there were screams going outside her room. She eventually got out of restraints, barricaded the door, took a chair, and busted out the window of the hospital. Damian managed to take the fight outside of the hospital where he met up with Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers just arrived on scene and they began holding back the dead, which they didn't know was the dead. Basically holding back these creatures. Excuse me, I'm yawning. I don't know why. Probably because I'm tired. Holding back these creatures that were basically cannibalizing the other patients and doctors. As that was going on, Catherine saw a nice opportunity and get in the armored vehicle and took off. Meanwhile, Steve Rogers and Damian Wayne got into the cop car and began following her. They managed to catch up to her quick, but as they were trying to throw a grenade at it to basically incapacitate the vehicle or stop the vehicle, she hit the brakes. Damian threw it through a shop full of people already being attacked, mauled, and God only knows what else, and blew it to hell, killing both living and the dead. She managed to lose them. Meanwhile, Damian and Steve Rogers managed to make it to an airport where they tried to take a plane, realizing that the private planes were already decommissioned and the only plane that was available was a really huge airliner. They managed to actually sneak in and take off before anything else was done as far as decommissioning it, but little did they know that there was no gas added to the fuel tank. And we pretty much ended the story there. Yeah, not very serious. They did do some rolls. They actually did rolls. They actually succeeded at the rolls of doing some things. Meanwhile, Catherine Spencer is still stuck in the city of this dead world, while the other two are kind of like literally flying around in a plane with no gas. And that was my first session of All Flesh Must Be Eaten. So that was it there, guys. I'm going to take a little bit of a break, grab a small snack real quick, and when I come back, I'm going to... this break will be no more than maybe 5 or 10 minutes. I'm actually going to see where Sparta Chris is and see if he is available to hop on, because we got some more topics we're going to talk about. The next topic I'm going to talk about is Foundry. Next year, I will be using Foundry with Castles and Crusades, and we're going to talk about how the character sheets look today. So I'm going to also take a minute and boot that up. Meanwhile, here is some nice hold music. Please listen, and hopefully you're here when I get back. back. That wasn't meant to be that long anyhow, so... Alright, we're going to go straight to Foundry now. Woot woot, here we are, Foundry. I'm just trying to get everything opened up the way it needs to be. Here we go. Alright, so... the only thing I don't like about this is... Maybe I can hide myself and just make this into a big, gigantic screen right here. There we go. So that way you guys actually see what it is that I'm looking at. So you won't be... So watch this cursor here. So I'm going to tap... Thar, watch this and how the areas light up. That is basically how you're going to be able to see my cursor. I think I got it to where... It doesn't capture the cursor, but maybe I can get it now. So there we go.
I don't see your cursor.
Oh, well, you don't need to see anything. All right, Spartacus is here. We don't even see Spartacus. Let's get him up here, everybody, for just a moment. Oh, there we are. All right, let me get him right in there. There we go. Look at that. And let me get his lower third up. What's up, Spartacus?
Oh, crap. I just bit my lip.
That sounds like a personal issue. Anyhow, alright, so we're going to talk about, like I said, we're going to talk about Foundry a little bit and what each things mean. I had a player earlier today, not naming any names, basically just had an issue with how things were being done, with a little bit of an issue with how things were being done, because he didn't understand how things work with Foundry. And so we're going to go through each and every subject here. So obviously, okay, so obviously the top part here, we're going to, all right, so we got a Thar, that's the name. Hit points, this is the box, is how many current hit points you currently have. This is your max, this is your level, this is your class, obviously wizard, race, human, background, that could be a number of things. I put apprentice mage, adventurer. But then last night, Spartacus did get the White Council Magician rank, which is rank 4. He is a true neutral person, and this is how much XP he has and how much he needs for the next level. This down here is his current attributes. The check marks represent if his attributes are what you call primes, and if they're not prime, then you don't check the boxes. Over here is some trackable stuff such as food, water, arrows, bolts, and rocks. And these are your weapons. And yes, these weapons can both... You can roll the weapons as well. Look at that. Roll and then say, oh, he rolled his dagger. He rolled a 15 on a melee attack while he hits. Well, now he gets to do damage. Oh, wait, but he casted Flaming Dagger, which means he goes to spells. So then he does, oh, hey, look, or Heating Dagger, which does another 1d4. So there you go. That's spells. We'll cover that in a minute. And so these are rollable tables. He has Braces of Armor, which gives him a +1 to his AC. So this is pretty much self-explanatory. So his AC is 9. Without the Braces of Armor, between the the 10 that you get starting out, mixed with his dex, so his dex is a -1 modifier, makes it a 9 AC. Okay, so right here, his AC is 9. That's all you look at right there. Now,
but I already hold on. I already had it was already 9 AC before I had the bracers, so it should jump up to 10.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you like I told the other person. Let me explain it first, and then interject.
Okay.
Okay. There's a reason for it. Okay. So, right here, the only thing you record for AC right here is the 10 and then the dex. You leave all other information alone. Now, he has the Braces of Armor equipped, which is what you guys see down here, right? And it says AC +1. That means it gets a +1 to the AC. So then you just go take his AC, which is 9, add a +1 to it, so it's a 10. As Spartacus answers. Yes, you can actually, as long as it doesn't confuse anybody, you could put that at a 10 right there. You could eventually do that. Me, I rather, me, because we already have the information right here too, and I can't stand the same information being re-recorded in multiple different locations, because that is confusing at times, especially if you don't remember that's how you did it. So this way it's just easy. You just record what their AC is, 10, which is the base, plus the dex. That gets recorded right here, and then just add the AC, you just add the AC to it. For someone like Greenie, so for Greenie, I'll show you guys again. So for Greenie, right here, we have his AC at 11. Well, he has a Greater Expert full plate, which is a 9, jumps it up to a 20, and then the Great Helm only gets added to the AC if the head is being attacked. So if the head's not being attacked, then that doesn't get added. But the Pavis does. So that puts his AC at a 26. And then if I go for the head, then it goes from 26 to then you go take that 26 and add a 7 to it. That's 31. That is the reason why I don't like it when people like make additions right here. So because you could just do the math in your head, it's very easy. At least for me, it is. Base attack bonus goes right there. You just put on 1. If you want to know what the base is, if you want to know what the base is, it should say right in here. We can open this up. Base attack, so bonus for a bonus attack bonus. That's what bonus AB means. Bonus attack bonus means whatever all goes right there. So what goes right here is simply your base attack bonus and your strength. So that way you don't need to actually add it. You can just hit roll. As you can see right over here into that, it's a D20 plus 1 plus 1. Well, strength is 0. What does he get a plus 1 for? Huh. That is a good question. I don't know what he gets plus 1 for. It's a dagger.
Did the spell affect anything?
Not to my knowledge. Oh, wait a minute. I think I know what... Hang on a second. I think I know what I did. Okay, so it's already adding... So this first one right here is this bonus right here. You can actually see it yourself. You can just add that to it too. And yeah, it's already adding that. That's not an expert dagger to my knowledge, so that doesn't get a plus 1 AB. But this is a greater expert sword, so that does. It's just a greater expert, it's a plus 2. I guess I was under the belief that it was not that. I have to go through and fix these sheets again. Might have made a mistake. But this is what... Yeah, it's a plus 3 when... It's a plus 3 when you're rolling it. So, yeah. I might have just made a mistake somewhere. Of course, I've been working very hard on this just to make sure we get all this information. And there is a lot of information that actually goes into this. This is just part of it. Move is the move, and then that does go down based on your encumbrance, but you got to add that separately. And then it's just how many, like, class HD. Well, I got a D4 and I got 5 of them because he's 5th level. So... And let me roll a 0 on that one. Alright, there we go. Good enough. Fixing my own mistakes. Alright, so here is the abilities. Alright, so special abilities. You gain a 3rd primary attribute. As you guys can see, nothing really here. You do get a rollable formula with some of your character abilities. But it depends on what you get. Like, this is just spells. This is just passive. The only thing that he gets active is the Apprentice Bolt, which, is a bolt of arcane power that strikes their enemies within 30 feet. You can roll that whenever you use that. You can use that and roll that for damage. Boom, there you go. See, the 1d2 plus 2 works. So, once you realize what you're doing here, it's actually not that hard. Now, see, this one's not done yet because I can tell you, some of these items are probably in this backpack. If they're in the backpack, it actually takes a load off. So this should be a lot smaller than what it's reading, and it's not. So he's not at 88 pounds. Some of the stuff is literally sitting inside a freaking, his freaking backpack. Then this is my favorite section: spells. So if the spells actually give you an ability where you do something, great. You don't really roll for. So for like this one has no damage. It doesn't. These don't do any damage. Acid Splash does, but oh, there we go. Oh yeah, it only does 3 damage. It's not even a roll. You just gotta have it just to do that. But like say Magic Missile does. Magic Missile does 1d4 plus 1. Energy Fist, 1d4. 1d8. So yeah, you can add damage to these spells. So that way, whenever I say roll the damage for roll the damage for your weapon, then roll the damage for your spell. There you go. This is Spartacus's character.
Yeah.
And this is just a description page that actually has the descriptions right here. Spartacus is not done. I'm still working on this. And I wasn't going to spend a whole lot of time explaining it anyway, because it is pretty much self-explanatory once you get the hang of it. We will be diving more into that, because starting on Chapter 5, hopefully we will be using that, and only that, and no one will have any character sheets that I can't see into. So,
Meaning he can screw with us and we won't even notice.
Whoops. Pretty much. Anywho, alright. Well, enough about that. We got other topics to do. Sparta, is there anything else you wanted to ask or add about that Foundry?
I have nothing to add.
How do you like it so far?
Hey, it's interesting. It's a lot easier to keep track of stuff. It's going to be easier to keep track of stuff than what we did before.
Well, Sparta and Chris and I will be doing a podcast starting next year as well, known as the Sigmaverse. We're doing it because we like superheroes. We hate what's going on with DC and Marvel, but I mean, that's just a matter of our opinion. Not here to change you guys on that one. But we are starting our own superhero podcast where we play superheroes. And we take on villains. And it will be GM-less. We will be using Mutants and Mastermind to tell the story. So that way, our heroes will not be overpowered. They have a set of rules that they will follow. And there we go.
Wonderful.
Anything you want to add to that?
No.
Not much of a conversation here.
I just got off of work, so my brain is slightly fried, so sorry.
Oh, no, not a problem. Not a problem. All right, give me 1 second. Let's see. So the Sigmaverse, I'm a big fan of Eric July. I have 2 of his comic books waiting on the 3rd to come in, which I believe... when is Alpha Core gets launched? Isn't the fulfillment starting soon?
I think I saw something. I think I've been seeing notices that says that there should be, they should be sending them out soon.
Very good, very good. So I'm playing I'm a big Invincible person. Very big Invincible person. So I'm playing a character called Ultramite. He's a Siltron. He's basically this world's version of Superman. And he's gonna he's gonna find out there's been another Siltron living on this planet for many years.
Nice.
Right now, the only power that he has is invulnerability. That's it. He can absorb a little bit of damage, but not much. The invulnerability is still somewhat weakened, so it's like certain things still bruises him where it doesn't pierce his skin, but it bruises his skin. So he's not all the way there yet. And who are you playing in the Sigmaverse?
I am playing the I don't know what are we gonna call him? Mutant, metahuman? What are we gonna call him?
Well, it's mutation, so you can say mutant or metahuman.
Yeah. So the metahuman sounds less offensive. The metahuman Wind Rider. So his powers are basically revolving around the ability to manipulate and control air, or the air around him.
And we will be having a third character joining in, which will be played by me. We will actually tell some stories. My girlfriend, Mrs. Tabletop, actually gave me the idea to using a character modeled after, like, not only someone from a show, but she thought, that it would actually match good with her son. Her son was the inspiration for this character to some degree. Actually,
Oh,
to
nice.
every degree. Oh, yeah. So I decided to add one in, and we will be doing a couple podcasts, episodes with them. Eventually leading into the grander scheme that there will be a new superhero team that will join the ranks of the other superhero team.
Yeah, we have actually we have a whole we're planning out a whole universe in a
Oh, yeah.
sense.
Oh, yeah. Not a whole lot there to talk about because we don't have much there to go off of yet.
Plus, also if we talked about some of the stuff that we have been talking about, would be a bit of a spoiler.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true too. Gotta wait for the show to come out. So, as everyone knows, next year in, I believe, what did I say, January or February?
Plus, also we also have you also have that audio drama you said you wanted to do too, which
Yeah,
is
well, that hit a back burner when, we got to talk about that behind scenes because that hit a back burner for a reason.
okay. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
Yep, I actually had some things lined up with that, but that hit a back burner for a lot of reasons.
Okay then.
Yep, but that can't be mentioned here. That's got to be behind closed doors, and no one else can even know about it.
Yep, yep,
So,
yep. Understand.
yep. So, okay, so let's move on to the next thing. Starting in January, February, we're going back to the horror anthology, The Massacre at Camp Crystal Lake, where there will be a group of players that I'm getting together that will be playing camp counselors that will be reviving the camp of Crystal Lake. Little do they know, though, that that in 1958, I believe it's 1958, a boy was drowned in the lake, supposedly, or said to have drowned in the lake, and his mother was decapitated some years later. And it said that he saw his mother get decapitated, and now we have a hockey mask killer, machete wielding killer trying to kill the current camp counselors. Will they survive? Will they not? Who knows? This will be the second episode of the horror anthology that will be starting next year immediately, either in January or February. I already got that on the schedule, as well as the one for March. There will be one in March, and that will be the Return to the Nightmare on Elm Street. Or the Return to Elm Street.
Are we at all? Yeah, it is 19. By the way, it is 1958.
Heck yeah.
But are we at all tying it in with any of our with the previous Friday 13th playthrough we did?
Yes, we already did. I already did that originally. Remember, in the original episode, it showed. We showed in the previous
Group
episode.
Of misfits.
We showed the group of misfits. It showed that Freddy Krueger made it to this cabin. So one of my players played a priest who bought a cabin, and it turns out it was also owned by Pamela Voorhees. It was owned by...
No. I'm talking about before that. I'm talking about when we did that I guess we can call it the proto test. All this.
Oh, I don't think so.
No. Okay.
I don't think so. That might be a little bit too much. I've probably had to retcon that one. This one is a lot better.
Okay.
So, but yeah, and I think I do actually have something for that. Just hold on tight for just a brief moment. All right, so that was a rough new introduction that I will be putting in some credits once we get, of which players will be playing into that one once we get more of them. So far, I think I've got 4 spots filled, and even though they will be reoccurring players, they will be playing new characters because their old characters are going elsewhere.
Yep.
So, other than that, yep, I do have a new horror anthology, and I've got the next few ones planned out. So, gotta go from there. So then there's another horror anthology series that I will be doing. That'll be a side series. Because I did buy All Flesh Must Be Eaten and we all like zombies, I am actually running a zombie podcast / campaign, actual play, where our people will be playing normal people living out their everyday lives in a city known as Romero City. Yep, they'll be in a city in Romero City, which will be out towards the west, and then they will have to face off with the zombie apocalypse while trying to escape the city. I'm actually working on trying to generate a city for a map, so that way you guys can see where everyone is and how far they have to go. I've actually created locations in the city, and I've actually typed out in words how this map works.
Sounds fun. Can't wait to see it.
Oh, yeah. Well, that won't be until next year, and next year, you know what next year's going to bring, right? Chapter 5 of the Chronicles of Paramore. And I hear an echo in here because my girlfriend's, like, listening in on that. She should turn that down a little bit. But, anyway, so Chapter 5 of the Chronicles of Paramore, that will begin next year as well with everybody else. I think next year we'll have a total of 7 characters on the table. I will actually be there with a halfling paladin known as Tren. He will start off at level 1 because he has not been around and he could still survive Chapter 5 at first level. Anything's possible.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's because you'll still be taking on some of the enemies be like lower levels. So.
And we need to prepare. We need to prepare for Gemini to come.
Well, there's that. Chapter 5 will actually take place 7 weeks after. Hang on a second. Will occur 7 weeks after Chapter 4 has taken place. So Gemini still hasn't came 7 weeks later.
Well, I think we probably we'll at least have the equivalent of several years, right, before Gemini appears.
Not necessarily.
Oh, wonderful. We're doomed.
Maybe not. Gemini is not that. I mean, there's other 12 Scourges. It's just one you recognize from reading in a book, and you had a vision of it being somewhere else, which means you can't have a vision of find a lost thought if the thought never occurred. So it's possible you had a vision years ago, and Athar doesn't know about it, or at least didn't remember it.
So they've been
I just linked your character to a larger story.
Yes, you did. So basically, what you're saying is I could have had this vision when I was 5 years old, and I could have been mistaken it for a nightmare.
Yep.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I'm a dick. I know. So, Chris, let's talk about some zombie media. Have you ever played Dead Island? Any of the Dead Island games?
I have not played any zombie-themed movies or games.
We have to change that at some point.
Well, okay, scratch that. My nephew had me play that Call of Duty zombie whatever one time.
Oh, that doesn't count. That doesn't count. Let's talk about some of the zombie media that we have. I remember, I think one of the main things that started a lot of zombie media in today's time all started with Robert Kirkman's The Walking Dead comic book series, because the comics actually ended up went from comics to a TV series. which I'm kind of pissed off about that now because everyone says, oh, variant zombies weren't really a thing. Where they now have zombies like climbing and certain things. It's like, you know what's funny? I just watched the first 2 episodes of season 1 today of The Walking Dead. I watched them with my girlfriend because she's never seen The Walking Dead. And I'm just sick and tired of having conversations with people and she's in the conversation and lost and not knowing what's going on because she's never seen it. So,
Don't forget also you have the Return of the Living Dead series, which was done by which was done by the guy who wrote Night of the Living Dead, and after Romero went off to do his. So I mean, there were really quick background for people. For the After Night of the Living Dead was filmed and everything, Romero and the writer went separate ways because they had different plans on how they were going to deal with this the whole franchise and everything. Romero went off and did his Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, the Dead series, and then the other guy took the Living Dead series. So you have Return of the Living Dead, Return of the Living Dead 2, Return of the Living Dead 3, and I believe there's 4 and 5. So
I still think Robert Kirkman's The Walking Dead though is the reason why there's more media today than anything. There was always media throughout the years, but we didn't just start getting big with games. Like, okay, so growing up before there was The Walking Dead, I do remember we had Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead. We had those series coming out, but we also had Resident Evil, which the Resident Evil games from Capcom was actually a big thing.
Well, you and I both, the traditional zombies shuffling around saying brains. You know where that comes from?
European folklore?
No, it comes from Return of the Living Dead.
Mm.
So Return of the Living Dead, people go watch it. It's actually pretty fun. I mean, the first one is, but it kind of after the first one, it kind of gets iffy. It kind of get it. No, not exactly old, but it you get decreasing entertainment from the sequels. But I mean that those the first the first Return of the Living Dead movie, it is a not as well known as Romero's zombie movies, but they are just as important. They're just as good, and the first one at least is just as good, and also it's just as influential on the zombie genre because, like I said, where everyone gets the term brains, it comes from that because the zombies in Return of the Living Dead, the whole reason why they have to eat brains, is because it helps to dull the pain of rotting. Because these zombies are alive again, and they're feeling themselves rotting, and it's painful. So they eat brains in order to reduce that pain. But yeah, so you have that, and also I think when did Walking Dead comic series come out?
The Walking Dead comic series came out just before they made that. So hang on, let me see. The Walking Dead comic series, the very first
came out in the 2003.
Yep. And we didn't get, which I was still in high school at that time because I didn't come out of high school until 2007, 2008. And then let's see, The Walking Dead.
I was going to point out that the Dawn of the Dead remake came out in 2004, so a year later.
And then the Walking Dead TV series came out in 2010, so that was like 7 years after. So they already had, let's see here.
This is interesting to see. So Kirkman was a fan of zombie films such as Living Dead, not the Living Dead, and Zombie 2, which is an Italian adaptation zombie movie. It's actually pretty good. I would recommend watching it if you guys want to. If you ever want to see a shark and a zombie fight, that's a movie you're going to watch it in. So the reason why they call it Zombie 2 is because the first Dawn of the Dead movie, or was it Dawn of the Dead or Day of the Dead? I can't remember now. Let me see here. Okay, so yeah, the first Dawn of the Dead movie from the 70s, when it was edited and shipped over to Italy, they called that Zombie in Italy. And then Zombie 2 is the Italian sequel to Dawn of the Dead. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Regard
Yeah.
Regardless, there's a lot of media to go with it. You know, especially now. You have games like Dead Island. Resident Evil has pretty much died for me because I think there's been something. Okay, so you have like a smart undead zombie, which she's considered to be a vampire, Lady Dimitrescu or whatever. I pretty much have gotten dull from Resident Evil, it being a scientific viral experiment that just superly mutates a person, which is okay for the most part. But I like the idea of, if you're gonna do zombie variants, at least do zombie variants that make sense and not call it a mutation, advanced form of a mutation. I don't know, the T virus, the G virus, the AB virus. They had a lot of viruses.
Plus, also, I think the Mila Jokovic movies did. They kind of got a little kooky as the series went on.
Oh yeah, they did. Let's see, they have they have the G virus, the T abyss virus, the T virus, progenitor virus, the T Veronica virus, the mold virus, the phobal virus. Jesus Christ. And that's a top 10 worst Resident Evil viruses to be infected by. What? That's it? How many did they have altogether? The Ouroboros virus. Oh God, they had more. They had a lot more. They had a lot more. Progenitor virus, we said that. The T virus, we said that. The T virus variant. Oh, the T Veronica virus. Yeah, the T. Okay, so the T Veronica virus, the G virus, the Ouroboros virus, the A virus, the C virus, the Los Plagas parasite virus, the mold Cadu parasite. Oh Jesus! They probably have a virus for every one. They probably have a Z virus. They probably have viruses A through Z, and then variants after that. That is ridiculous. I got so bored with that. The thing I like with Dead Island is, okay, so Dead Island, you eventually find out that everything comes from outer space. Freaking nice. But then it gets worse from there, because supposedly, yeah, this started happening when this meteor fell. But then now it's happening all over the world. Because then in Riptide, you're escaping the Benoit Islands. And then escape from Dead Island, you're escaping them as well. I think you're still in the Benoit Islands during the Epidemic.
I mean, I mean, that actually, the meteor thing kind of sounds almost similar to the original Night of the Living Dead movie, where if you listen to radio, to the TV broadcast in the background of one scene, they do mention something about radiation and a satellite crashing to Earth or something of that nature. So they don't give a reason as to why the dead are coming back to life in the original Night of the Living Dead movie, but they kind of there's a small hint as to what could possibly be there.
Right. And with Dead Island, we actually got a lot of series. We got Dead Island, Riptide, Escape from Dead Island, Epidemic, which is Dead Island Epidemic, Dead Island Retro Revenge, which I think that sucked, and then Dead Island 2, which just very much came out. Who doesn't like zombies? Come on.
People that got sick and tired of the oversaturation of zombies in the last couple decades.
Now, screw that. Zombies are fun.
Oh, they can be, yes, but again, is not as many people are excited of the Walking Dead series as they used to be.
Well, okay. So, you know what my problem with the Walking Dead series was? There was no variance. There was no difference. There was no, it was a constant thing. Now, I
Well, I
will
mean,
agree. No,
also
I think I speak for. I think I
there's
speak
also
for myself
also
and Witch King when I say this. Is it should have been honestly okay? So the zombie outbreak occurred like near the end of the film. So at the end of the series, at the end of the first series, the zombie virus has actually been around for anywhere from 12 to 15 years. Okay, these corpses are continuously rotting and continuously rotting and continuously rotting. I actually did see earlier today a small clip where they actually had a corpse that was completely rotted almost down to the skeletal structure. Very little meat was left on the bone. And so, Witch King and I actually had this discussion. I wish he was here. Witch King, if you can hear me, I wish you were here. Because him and I had a talk, and I agree with him. The only way, I mean, at that point, the brain is pretty much gone, and it's a show based off of science, not supernatural powers, not anything. It's literally just
no voodoo,
scientific,
the
no
voodoo
voodoo,
that you
none of
do.
that bullshit. The brain would have rotted away long before that, like in 28 Days Later. The reason
Yeah.
why all the zombies went away in 28 Days Later against the rage virus is because literally that's how long it took for the constant decay, for the decay of, yes,
Well, if I remember,
the rage virus slowed the decay, but could not stop the decay completely.
yeah, I mean, unless they explain like something about the virus in the bodies somehow preserved the nervous system and the most of the body's functions past the time that it should be, which they don't seem to explain that. I mean, yeah, definitely because if I remember correctly, I think wasn't it like at the end of season two or something like that? Season two or season three, I can't remember exactly, but they were wanting to wait till around winter because they thought that around winter that's when the zombies would all die off because exposure to the elements would kill them, would destroy the bodies.
That was like season 2. It was
Hmm.
before, I think it was before Shane died. Um, and then winter did come, and it was like 3 years in, and it didn't stop anything. Nothing stopped. And so, I was sitting down with Witch King one day, and we were talking about it, and him and I both agree it has to be voodoo or something supernatural that would do that. It's if you just go off of just pure science, there's really okay. So what a lot of people don't know. Let's get real about
I
something
mean,
right
there
now.
could be a scientific explanation. It's just you have to explain as to how in the world is the virus preserving the body's main function or motor functions
Right. Well,
while
it's got to.
while a majority of the body mass is rotting away.
Well, and that was the other issue. Supposedly, the brain was still rotting. So, I mean, how was a virus, preserving the brain?
I mean, it could. So basically, if I were this is like my mother would tell me is that you can actually live without your brain. It's your brain stem that's where all the important functions are.
Yes, at the base.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're born without a brain, you can continue to live. Your brain stem is where your heart, your breathing, all that stuff. That's where that's all happens. So I mean, if the virus is able to preserve the brain stem and or at least preserve functions like that and possibly preserve the more primal aspects of the human brain, so like eating, moving around, so on and so forth. Possibly that the rest of the brain could rot away. The parts that make a human human. So
Mm,
like memories, uh, the majority of your memories, your cognitive functions, so on and so forth.
I mean, I guess I agree with that to some aspect. I
Yeah,
mean, I don't know. I just, I don't know. I mean, I do find it like still a little bad that it, you know, 15 years later and there's still
Oh
dead people
yeah,
walking around. Like
even like 15
corpses
years
as
later,
old. Yeah.
especially if there's especially if they don't have any nourishment to preserve them, that they should die off and like
Spoiler alert. Uh, they didn't have to worry. Like after Carl grew, so like Carl actually survived inside the comics. It was Rick that was killed off, and little spoiler alert. So if no one has read the comics, just don't listen to this. But put it to you bluntly, when Carl is a grown man, about his dad's age, when the zombie virus first struck, um, they were able to live outside in the wilderness without gates. They were able to live outside Alexandria because so much of the human population was so far gone that there was hardly any walkers left. They're not sure whatever happened to the mass hordes. There's been a few times that they had put the mass hordes in the ocean, that they've done things, but eventually over time they did just disappear. And
I mean, not
and
just
there
not
was
just,
there was a there was you still had to worry about them from time to time. You still
yeah.
saw one every now and then. But like you said, that kind of goes along with what you said. Like 50 years later, here's where they're at. Yeah, the world was never the same.
Yeah,
After
I
that.
mean,
But
I,
my
I
only
mean,
issue that I had with
also,
that was they didn't
didn't they?
show what's up.
Oh, I was gonna say, didn't they also talk about how the virus is in everybody, even in the living? So
Yes,
if a living person died, they would have to basically destroy the body right away.
they'd have to destroy the brain and the brain stem.
Yeah,
So, and
but I
it's
mean,
actually not even the brain stem. It's literally just destroy the brain.
yeah,
So
basically
it still doesn't. It still it kind of goes back to
destroy the motor functions that would prevent the zombie from moving around.
But see, that's where they went wrong at because they didn't show it destroying just the motor functions which exist at the base of the brain. It showed them just damaging the brain, and that would be enough. It still doesn't make sense that if your brain was rotted away enough, you should cease to stop. And that's where Witch King and I had an issue. Is there was some things about the science they were talking about that did not line up.
Well, like I said, is that there obviously would have to be something about the virus that helps to lets majority of the brain to rot away, but it preserves enough to keep the Walking Dead ironically alive.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Uh,
I agree
but
with that.
but have them like 15 years later, still all of them still being round. It seems kind of a little funky because uh, you have the elements which would destroy them. Uh, animals like bears,
Yeah, they
wolves.
were like that was my biggest problem I had with that whole show is like that these things were at the top of the food chain, and it's like, what about the wolves? Where were they? We had
I mean,
wolves. Like,
unless the Walking Dead was killed off all the predatory species.
yeah, that could have been it.
Drove them to extinction or to the brink of extinction by just mass hordes.
So if anyone's wondering what I'm doing, I'm bringing in a couple couple screenshots uh, from Dead Island. These are considered to be plain walkers, slow moving zombies, highly aggressive, but slow moving where they're not super dangerous. And
There is an interesting YouTuber out there that
this is what we deem as infected. Faster moving, these guys can actually run, open doors, and do a funny thing. So this is kind of like this is what I like about zombies, is having zombie variants with different abilities and showing, that even though they're dead, they still have the ability to adapt and change based on the hunt. Now, see, that was one reason why I liked Zombieland 2. They actually made zombie variants. They had homers, which was the stupidest things they've ever seen. They had ninjas, which were the sneakiest zombies ever seen. And what else did they have? They had one more. Oh, the Hawkings, which were the smartest ones. They had
And
different
then
variants that.
they came up with and then they had the T800s.
Yep, I did like those. You like the T800? It shows them killing the brain of a T800, and then the brain still being somehow protected, which I like that because that actually explained that. Now, here we have three zombie types. We have in the picture with a bunch of them. Those are walkers. The one when the red shirt is an infected. Those are the ones that can run. And then right here is supposedly the one wearing the army suit is supposedly a thug. I don't like that one as a thug because a thug has always been a zombie that can like move very, very slowly. It's basically got bulky arms and whatnot. They are highly aggressive, but they're slow moving, but they're strong as hell.
I do believe to uh throw out there is another YouTuber. His name is Thought Potato. He's done a series of interesting videos where he explains the biology or anatomy of or the science of various things like vampirism, where
Oh, I've seen
lycanthropy.
that guy. I've seen that guy.
Yeah, because I showed you a couple of his videos, and one of them was the biology of a zombie.
Yeah,
So maybe we'll watch that again.
we may.
But he does some. It's very interesting. I think recently he did a couple of videos about mermaids. Uh,
Hmm.
Let me see here. What was his most recent video? His most recent video was on the. I'm assuming that this is probably a Inuit uh, legend, but the Qualpalik biology,
Okay.
An Arctic monster.
Hmm.
But yeah, he's got Chupacabra, he's got Mummy, Frankenstein's monster, mermaids, Mothman, or the Mothman, zombies, Wendigo.
We're a bunch of freaking
Um,
nerds.
yes, we are.
Yeah.
He's also got some aliens, like alien biology that he's and also other cryptids and stuff like that. So
Okay. Well, I mean, it sounds interesting. I'm just saying, like, you just gotta spice up the story a little bit. You can't. I'm sorry if you just have like slow moving zombies like these bad boys up top here. I'll move the red shirt guy down here too. I just don't see
uh,
that being very, very much fun and exciting.
yeah, and also by the way, this guy Thought Potato, some interesting thing about the way that he like presents his videos is like he presents them as a in world he in the video he presents himself as as a scientist, like dissecting and observing and studying these varying uh creatures
Oh yeah.
and
Okay.
so I mean it's pretty interesting. So like he depicts himself as like, oh, I've been studying this and what I've observed is how the virus affects the human being, yada 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 kind of stuff.
Mm,
So yeah.
fair enough. Well, this brings me to my next topic that I would like to share today, and we're going to share it right now. I just gotta upload it. Now I gotta find it. I downloaded it and I don't know where the hell I put it.
Way to go. Is it in your downloads?
Oh, it's definitely somewhere there. No, it's not in my downloads. Maybe that's where I should have put it. Hell, what did I name the damn thing even? I don't even remember what I named it because it's usually. Okay. It's a number. It starts with a number, so it's going to be at the top of my list. Nope. Nope. Oh, here it is. Found it. All right, so we did talk about this. All flesh must be eaten. This is a bit of a worse cover than what I showed you guys earlier because I actually showed you guys the PDF that I bought from Eden Studios. So this is made by Eden Studios, and I just love All Flesh Must Be Eaten. So there's like three types of people you could play. You could play a normie or normal person, which is they're everyday people with a job, and they just do their job. That's it. Or you could play a survivor, which is a person like Rick Grimes later on. A lot of people, the way they play is you play either a normal person or an inspired person, and you just eventually become a survivor through experience, through gaining experience and awarding, being awarded experience. So today, like I said, I ran a game earlier. I told the story. You guys could see the beginning parts of the video. I ended up buying this because I wanted to run a zombie game, and I want to run it under All Flesh Must Be Eaten. Now, I don't know if I'm going to allow, for the story of the zombie story that I'm going to tell, I don't know if I'm going to allow the inspired to be in there. I'm actually trying to still deal with how I'm going to deal with this.
You're still dealing with how you're going to deal with this?
Yeah, like how I'm going to run it, basically. How I'm going to start it. What is the storyline? Is it going to be a viral zombie virus outbreak, or is it going to be a virus outbreak with hint of somehow religious belief that hell is too full and the dead is rising from hell, the dead is returning from hell to the earth, because there was actually that's part of the book of Revelations. And for those who believe or don't believe, you don't have to believe it, but it is in the book of the Bible. It is a thing, so deal with it. I'm not sure this is what they meant, but
No, it's not.
Very well could be. Very well could be. We never know.
I mean that part's
but
about
the thing about All Flesh Must Be Eaten, and I just want to touch base on this. This does offer variant zombies. Like there are zombies that can actually fly.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, dangerous or like wall crawl, and that's not even considered supernatural. That's just considered they somehow got like sticky hairs on their fingers that allows them to wall crawl like Spider-Man. And it's like, oh my god, like there's a magical aspect to it and a scientific aspect to it. I freaking love it.
Or probably some razor sharp claws that can help dig into the concrete.
Like the gargoyles from Disney, yeah. One game I ran a lot before I started investing in All Flesh was Fate of the Dead, using the Fate Core system and using the Fate Core or horror toolkit. But the thing about Fate Core is it doesn't. I called it Fate of the Dead. Everyone did, whoever ran it. But the thing that I just had a problem with Fate Core is just didn't really allow a lot for character advancement. Everything you were doing was story plot. Story plot armor, like really your character never really got better. Your character was already good at what it was doing. So, there was another game that I did managed to run a long time ago. It was by Fantasy Flight, and I don't know. Okay, here we go. And they ran a whole series off of this. I believe it was Fantasy Flight. Yeah, it was Fantasy Flight Games. I'm actually going to show you guys the whole series, because I think it would be interesting. All right, just downloaded it. So let me remove this and booyah. Let's see here. So this is it right here. So I only ran the Zombie Apocalypse one. I never did get to. So Fantasy Flight created these 4 book series. It was the End of the World series. They had the End of the World Zombie Apocalypse, the End of the World Wrath of the Gods, the End of the World Alien Invasion, and the End of the World Revolt of the Machines. The Alien Invasion one looks like War of the Worlds. Yep, Wrath of the Gods was basically like, if you ever seen Clash of the Titans, and the Revolt of the Machines clearly was the Terminator. I never did get a chance to get the other three books, but I did get a chance to buy Zombie Apocalypse. I still own it to this day. I still actually use it as a reference when I write stories and adventures for uh, other systems. This was actually kind of based on Fate Core. I think it was a Fate Core variant, so other than that, yeah, I mean, it didn't require a lot of mechanic, and it was kind of fun to play. Kind of fun. They even have a
Okay.
timetable. They have a timetable about how long it should take for all of this to take effect and what changes you will see. And it goes through certain things. Like if you're in a giant city, it tells you, well, during this time, the highways would pretty much be gridlocked or
Oh
something like
yeah,
that.
definitely. Especially the closer you're going to into cities, it's gonna get worse.
Oh yeah. So uh, I definitely loved the zombie apocalypse, but then that's when Witch King got me into All Flesh Must Be Eaten, which is going to be the next thing that I'm going to run. Next series I'm going to run off of Horror Anthology. I think Horror Anthology might be around until I give up on streaming. I think that's going to be kind of like my thing. Is we're just going to tell stories. Yeah, I can't really claim much of any of the original horror anthology stuff that I started out with because that's going to be like famous slashers like Freddy and Jason and all them. We're just going to be like fanning that stuff out. But I think the zombie apocalypse one might be the one where that's going to be like an original story.
Okay.
I'm still not sure how I'm going to present it, but I at least want to present it somehow, some way.
Somehow, some way, some fashion, some form.
Well, like just some way. Like I'm gonna be the narrator. I'm probably gonna even have my own character in there too, but I'm gonna be like the narrator too that tells, like, if anyone ever seen Yog Quest 3, I just showed that to Sparta Chris, where they had um Dr. D, the radio podcast explaining what's going, where he was broadcasting a signal and explaining what was going on in the world.
Yeah.
Might have something like that. Not sure how. I may even have a counter, like where you see this logo where it's a dice and a TJ, where it counts upward and it changes the number. I don't know yet. I'm still working out some ideas. Like I said, really the playthrough I did with my family earlier today, that was kind of like the testing.
So
That was
what?
just me testing it.
You'll be Wolfman Table.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh
Or I'll just be dressed up like Hugh Hefner, sitting in a chair, telling a
geez.
story.
No, no, no. The Crypt Keeper. You'll be dressed up like the Crypt Keeper, or Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah, maybe. I'd like to point out I'm at 154 subscribers today, so I definitely would like, if anyone is still watching this, please like and subscribe. If you guys like what we're talking about today, I am glad because the last thing that we are going to touch base on, and I'm so sad, but I'm going to mention an honorable mention. One set of zombie media that no one really hardly talks about. I don't know if anyone ever hardly ever talks about it. Um, and I'm going to see if I can pull up a book on it. If anyone's heard of this, Dead Rain by Palladium Games. I just got told about it myself by Mr. Witch King, so I have not really looked into it. I don't know if I'm ever going to because, in a sense, I don't like having too many games of the same thing. In a sense, if I get it, it'd be the same thing as All Flesh Must Be Eaten.
Mm.
So I don't know. I've kind of got mixed feelings about it, but this is a small cover of it by Palladium. My recommendation as an honorable mention, go ahead and check it out. I think it might be worth it. I don't know if it's going to be. I might just get it just to do a review on it, like I am gonna do with All Flesh, but I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure. It that all depends. So, But that, we do have a lot of media. There's a lot of movies, definitely a
Oh
lot of
yeah,
TV
definitely.
series. I mean, we got Zombieland 2, which I am sorry, but I'm a big Woody Harrelson fan. Um, I kind of watch it too because of Jesse Eisenberg because he acts like such a ditz in that film. But he
He
plays
acts
the
like
nerd
such a
well.
ditz. He acts like such a ditz in a lot of movies.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. Makes me think of a real nerd.
Oh,
Which that's a thing for me. Just deal with it.
so you're saying that you find him attractive?
Yeah, something like that. Just go with it. No, 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 nothing like that.
You're
Jesse
right. You're
Eisenberg,
right.
he's a good actor. I've seen him in a lot of films. American
He's
Ultra, Zombieland 1 and 2. I thought he did a good Lex Luthor. I don't know.
and he didn't do such a bad job, but he seemed more like he should have been more of a Riddler.
Yeah, that one would have been good. That would have been good. And Woody Harrelson, big fan of him. I love his work. He makes me laugh. And then I do got it, but we can't let anyone we sorry about
Can't
that.
what?
Someone just like barged in on me while I was talking. And so anyway, but we can't like let the past go with the female performances of Emma Stone. Uh and I can never remember the girl that plays freaking Wichita. Wichita. Is it Wichita? Oh, for God's sake. Little Rock. That's who it was. Wichita was Emma Stone.
Mm, yeah, so Abigail Breslin.
Yes. She did an awesome job in both those films. One of those films, she was like super young.
She also was in Stillwater,
Yep.
uh,
Maggie as well.
Freak Show, 2017, August, Osage County, Maggie, Nims Island, no reservations, my sister's keeper,
Signs.
the call. She was in Signs.
Yeah.
Oh, she was a little girl, wasn't she? Yep, she was a little girl.
Wow. She played in a lot of films.
Oh, she was also in Santa Claus 3 too.
Also, Ender's
The
Game. But anyway, and then uh, I don't know if I'm butchering this name though, but Zombieland 2, Zoe Deutch. I don't know how you say that. Um, she played in Vampire Academy, Why Him, Zombieland 2. She was in Zombieland 2. She played as Madison, and I'm sorry, like
Zoe
that was awesome. That was
Zoe
an awesome
Deutsch.
performance.
Zoe Deutsch.
No, regardless of which, awesome performance.
She was also in Zoe Deutsch was also in she was in The Amazing Spider-Man,
Mm-hmm.
Vampire Academy. Uh,
What's up,
I don't
Brady?
I don't really see much of anything that like pops out to me from her that I've seen her in.
Dirty Grandpa with De
Okay,
Niro
yeah.
and Efron. And then, of course, there
Good.
was Why Him in 2016 with Bryan Cranston and James Franco.
She was also in TV. She was also in this Sweet Life on Deck,
Yep.
NCIS, Criminal Minds, The Politician, Home Movie, The Princess Bride. She also has a couple music videos under her belt.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah, she's a good actress. I've always laughed whenever I saw her. Well, Vampire Academy was more serious but less comedy, but it had its funny moments. But the best moments that I felt she was in was her performance in Zombieland 2 Double Tap. Definitely. Definitely you got to give her props for that one.
Yeah, she played a good ditzy girl.
Yeah, she did. That was the best.
Oh, geez.
So that's like all the zombie media that we pretty much covered. Is there anything else you think we could cover?
Oh, I mean, how far would you go for zombie media? Would you consider The Crazies as a zombie movie?
I consider that to be like kind of newish, but yeah.
Well, The Crazies was also done by Romero,
Oh,
if I
really?
remember
Was
correctly.
it?
Yes, it was. Yeah,
Okay.
it came out in '73. So basically, The Crazies is about a biological weapon that was released into the water supply of a small town, and it just drove everyone insane. Whoever drank it for long term. There is a 2010 remake, so
Oh, okay.
by the same name. Uh, so basically, the town is put in lockdown, and yeah,
Um, have you ever seen Z Nation?
no, I have not.
That one was a weird one.
There is also World War Z.
Black Friday, or not Black Friday? Black Summer.
There is also the 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later.
Those are some classics, I
Hmm.
think.
Would you consider I Am Legend to be a zombie movie?
I consider that to be somewhat different of a zombie movie, maybe, or more
It's
vampire.
you could possibly make the argument that it's a zombie vampire mix.
Oh yeah.
Uh, I think of what else is let's just throw zombie into the category of zombie movie.
I actually just
Zombie
looked up some
film.
pictures of Black Summer, which is that was a good zombie flick.
One of the earliest zombie movies was White Zombie from 1932.
Okay, okay.
That one, let's see here, it is based off of a book called Magic Island. It is about let's see here,
Dead Island rules.
a young woman's transformation to a zombie at the hands of an evil voodoo master.
Oh god, yeah. I don't like voodoo. I don't know. I like voodoo
Eh,
in its own sense, but not like when it comes to zombies because
yeah,
where zombies come from out of voodoo, they can also be returned by the same voodoo. Doesn't mean it doesn't come at a price though. It definitely comes at a huge price.
well, I mean, let's sit down and we'll watch and see how it goes. There's also a movie that came in '43 called "The I Walked with a Zombie." Uh, is about follows a Canadian nurse who travels to care for an ailing wife of a sugar plantation owner in the Caribbean, where she witnesses voodoo, not voodoo, voodoo,
Hmm.
Haitian voodoo, ritual, and possibly encounters the Walking Dead.
Hmm. Okay.
Uh, then you have the House of the Dead, which is a 1996 movie.
Oh yeah. Wasn't there
Um,
also House of the Return to the House of the Dead or the House of the Dead
there
2, something like that?
there is a 2003 remake from the looks of it. I don't know.
You
Uh,
know why? Okay,
oh no, no. Oh,
so
okay, the 19 no, so House of the Dead is was the video game. Sorry, my bad. House of the
okay,
Dead was the video game,
so
and then you have the House of the Dead movie that was based off of the video game.
so what makes zombie or the zombie apocalypse so appealing to people? Um, I don't know what it appeals to you, but you know what the aspects to me appeals to, and Sparta, why don't you share your idea on this? What aspect of a zombie apocalypse, having different variations of zombies, or a virus or magic, have like how does that appeal to you when you look at this media?
I don't really know. Oh, by the way, there's also the serpent and the rainbow. Um,
Awesome, but answer my question.
I know, I know. I just also remembered that movie. That's a Wes Craven movie.
Okay.
Anyways, so God, so what aspect of a zombie movie appeals to me?
Hmm?
I I really can't say. It's just, I mean, zombie movies aren't among my number one. They're movies, but it's just, I don't know, something about
They're among mine.
something about like you have the heroes and everything, or the survivors and everything fighting against the zombie horde, and either they're wiped out or they overcome it or something of that nature. Um, uh, but I mean, yeah, that there, I don't know. There's just sometimes it's just fun to just sit back and you just watch people just get butchered.
Okay, that's a bit dark than what I thought you were gonna say with that. Um,
I
so
mean,
let me.
yes, I don't. I'm not a big fan of like like a lot of recent zombie material where it's like nihilism needs to go. Nihilism's just a pain in the butt. It's just annoying. So I mean, like when the zombies eventually are overcome and defeated, or some cure is found, that it would
So
be nice if nihilism could go out the window, please.
so let me explain to you why I like zombie media. What appeals to me? Why do I watch it? Why do I care so much about it? Why do I want to run a game and make a story on it? Well,
Because you want to see zombie women titties.
that was Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse, and no, I'm not that lonely. Um, so no, what appeals to me is the ability of a world-ending event. Um, for those
True.
who are like, wow, he is a psychopath. Well, if I'm a psychopath, how many are you guys out there love playing and trying to survive in a game called Fallout? Let's name that one right from the get go, right? Fallout talks about a world-ending event, and therefore we have super mutants. We have society's been destroyed. We have super mutants. We have ghouls, and we have we have a wasteland and shit like that. So basically speaking, reason why I like zombies is not just because of the variation, but as well as just the difference of the world is changing, and no matter
Yeah.
what you do, you can't stop it, and it's out of your control. It's the ability that you are not in control.
Well,
Because
I
right now
mean,
we have so many people believing that they're in control of so much shit, but really you're not. And I just
zombie apocalypse is basically just a force of nature at that point.
exactly.
It's a nice backhanded slap by whatever powers that you believe in, basically saying you're not running the show, I run the show.
Exactly. And I think that's what I like. And then it's like, you're not even trying to live your life in the zombie apocalypse. You're just trying to merely
Survive.
survive it. That's it. That's why I like zombie games. Because you're just surviving it. You're not even trying to live it no more. Everything you know is now done and over with, and it's gone forever. And you got to
Yeah.
rebuild from that. And I like that. I don't know. I like the idea that gets you out of your daily grind.
Well, it's also like a nice little it's a nice little smasher to the consumerism. I mean, everyone sits around nicely with so comfortable in life and everything, but what happens when that's all taken away?
Exactly. Exactly. And it
Oh,
offers a
another
lot of adventure too.
Yeah. Another zombie related material that we have that we didn't mention is the classic music video by Michael Jackson.
Oh, Thriller. Gotta love that one. That one is a good one. I was just listening to that. Dancing Zombies, everybody.
Yes.
So,
Uh, you also have that there was one video game that came out recently that kind of looked interesting. I'm trying to remember what it was.
Last of
Uh,
Us.
no, Days Gone.
Oh yeah, yeah. You know, little fun note. Days Gone By was the first. Is the name of the first volume of The Walking Dead and the first episode of The Walking Dead, and we got something called Days Gone, which is a video game about zombies. We didn't even mention that one. I'm wondering how much does this cost, because I may have to look into buying it.
I
Let's
remember
see.
if I
I'm trying to look
did buy
something up
it.
on it now.
I am trying to remember if I did buy it when on the PlayStation app. Speaking of PlayStation is pulling some BS apparently.
We're not covering that. I saw it too, and yeah, we're just gonna leave it alone at that.
Yeah,
You know,
I did purchase Days Gone.
oh wow. Well, I got the video here. I just don't know if I'm gonna get copyright struck for sharing it.
Well, I mean, as long as you do the nice little 5, 10 seconds, whatever, snippets.
Yeah, I'm reviewing it now real quick just to see if it would be worth it.
What is out there, buddy? I was like periodically growling at something outside.
This is actually pretty long too. Oh shit, it's like almost like 3 minutes. I don't know. I don't think. I think that'd be just something. You know what? The name of it, guys, is called Days Gone. Just check it out for yourself. I'm not doing that.
I mean, they also
it's
have
just one more thing to add to the media list.
you have the famous Sam Witwer playing the main character Deacon.
Ooh, love Sam Witwer. Loved him in freaking Being Human. Loved him in Smallville, and loved him in The Force Unleashed. Both 1 and 2.
He's also the voice of Darth Maul in the Clone Wars TV show and Rebels. He also voiced the son, the Mortis son, and also Emperor Palpatine in those shows as well.
Nice, nice. All right, well, let's begin to wrap this up. We've been going for almost an hour and 40 minutes, and I think this was been a long enough stream for tonight. Um, what else do I got going on? Yes, before I do the horror anthology zombie storyline, I will be reviewing All Flesh Must Be Eaten for my players as well as for myself, as well as for the cast that will be in that. On my channel before we actually begin doing anything, and all of the reviews will be starting up as soon as next year hits. January, I'm going to be hitting the streaming. I'm going to be hitting it hard as often as I can. I will be doing reviews as often as I can. I will be updating videos so that way we can get some more activity, and hopefully my channel will grow. If you've checked out my channel today, please hit the like button. Please like the video. Subscribe to my channel, as the more subscribers I have, the more videos I will do day by day, as much as I can. And we will be, like I said, we're going to be hitting it hard next year, because I will do anything that I can to be getting streaming up, especially when it comes to actual plays and podcasts where we get to act and maybe roll a little bit of dice, role play, roll a little bit of dice to make it seem like a game and not overpower our characters. And then when we see a character death, it will be so sad. Honestly, I just want to take out Toby. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
I just want to see Greeny go down.
You want to take us all out?
Greeny first. All right, everybody. Sparta, you got anything else to say before we leave?
Live long and prosper, and God bless everyone.
Yep, there we go. And for everyone who's joined us, please share my channel. Let's get some more out here. And remember to work hard, play hard, game on, everybody. Have a great and wonderful evening.
Why don't you shut up?
You shut up.